Good evening. Today is February 24th. I'll hereby call the meeting of the Board of Commissioners to order. We have a quorum pursuant to City Code 62210, and so we'll proceed with the conducting of the city business. Our first item on the agenda is the setting of the agenda. I have one change. I would like to remove 9B from the consent agenda. If there's any objections to that? Hearing none, any other changes to the agenda? All right. Without objection, we'll set the agenda as 9B being removed from the consent. We have a 71-page packet, so we will do our best to get through that tonight as quickly as possible and as efficiently as possible. So at this point, I would ask our city manager, if you would, sir, please lead us in the invocation and Pledge of Allegiance.
Absolutely. If everybody could bow your heads with me, please. Dear Lord, as we begin this meeting, we ask for your clarity and focus. Remove any distractions or confusion that may hinder our progress. Help us to stay focused on the task at hand and to give us the insight needed to address every issue clearly and effectively. May our minds be sharp and our discussions fruitful. In Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen. As everybody join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. Next item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from our February 10th meeting.
Motion.
Have a motion? Have a second? Any questions, comments? All in favor of the minutes, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Minutes do carry. Next item that we have is our citizen comments. So in order to conduct an efficient business-like meeting, the commission has adopted some rules for the comments that will be conducted. Primarily, these rules are designed to keep the meeting moving and assure that all points are heard and considered and provided for a common courtesy. During this time, anyone wishing to address the commission may do so pursuant to Chapter 2, Article 2, Section 220 of City Code for up to 3 minutes. Although we may ask that you wait until the mayor recognizes you. Also, we ask that you observe these simple rules. One, at the beginning of the presentation, tell us your name and address. Please address all your comments to the mayor. If necessary, the mayor will ask someone to address your comments. However, the board is under no obligations to respond to questions. 3, please avoid the use of improper language, profanity, or any other inappropriate conduct. Once citizen input portion of the meeting is over, the commission will proceed with the remainder of the evening's agenda. We welcome you and encourage you to stay and watch the meeting. So with that, I'll open the floor for citizen comments. If anyone would like to address the Board of Commissioners, I'd invite you to do so. Please come to the podium and give your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, I'm Ellen Hoover. Mike and I live at 147 Karen in Verona Hills. I sent an email earlier today and someone was kind enough to forward it to everyone, so I won't reiterate all that because my concerns echo everyone else's about the low density. But the only thing I wanted to add, one of our neighbors who could not come tonight has been in contact with some city officials, and we're told that TDOT has not included the Highway 70 widening project from Bender's Ferry to 109 in their 10-year plan. So that just sort of cements how we feel about just increased traffic. So if we could keep it to low density, my concerns are just like everybody else's. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there anyone else to address the Board of Commissioners? All right, we'll close citizen comments and we will proceed with commissioner comments and reports. Commissioner Giles, you are recognized, sir.
I have no comments tonight. Mayor, thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Trevette, you're recognized.
Just a couple of things. First of all, thanks for the folks that came out tonight and also the folks that are online. It's always great to see our citizens here and get involved. So appreciate that. Just wanted to highlight two things because there's been a lot of communication. Obviously, one, thanks to Public Works for all the great work you guys did last week with the snow. Obviously, it didn't stick around long, but it came down fast. Great job to that. And also great job to our fire and PD. Obviously, keeping our roads safe. And, obviously, I've seen a lot of fire trucks passing through, an ambulance. So obviously, there's a concern there. During that time with all the storms and everything. And then, of course, all the reports. Again, it's great to see our Mount Juliet Police team keeping our community safe. I had no clue that we continue to have this much, trouble that's coming from our Nashville area. So hopefully they can clean up down there and just be able to keep folks from coming here to Mount Juliet. So thank you, gentlemen, for everything you guys are doing. Please pass that along to the teams. And thanks again. That concludes my report, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. With that, we'll recognize Commissioner Mullally.
Okay. I plan on sending out the next newsletter on Saturday, the 1st. I got to get started on that. Appreciate all the citizens coming out and expressing their views. It's great because I have been in your seat before and have come out and spoken out, against the project one time. Of course, that was at the Planning Commission, but I always appreciate anyone who comes out, especially the really young lady. I know that wasn't easy. So I appreciate it. Things always don't work out what you hope for, but we have a thing called the urban growth boundary, and it's for eventual expansion of the city when a property owner decides to sell, and if they want to annex, and that kind of thing. City can't just automatically annex it. It's up to the property owner. So that's a situation that we have here. And they've worked with the developer. And so I always support the right of the property owner. Of course, it has to pass through this and planning and all that. But if you look at the property on the map, I think it's just a given that eventually it would develop at some point. We can't always wait on the roads, especially when we're talking about state roads. And again, TDOT did not put that in the 10-year plan for whatever reason. That's unfortunate, but they didn't. And I know you have a bad traffic problem on the north end. We got it on the south end too, and I drive in it every day. So anyway, as far as the Silver Springs, for me, I've already voted on it, and I'm not going to change my vote. So it's just a formality tonight for the land use. So that's where I stand. Thoughts go out around the corner from me. A house burnt, not to the ground, but the left side of it was significant damage. So I appreciate it. Was very, very cold that night. Thankfully, there were no injuries. So shout out to the fire department. There were also a lot of police there that night too. But they had water with the freezing water. And so that I know that wasn't easy, but they did an awesome job. And so wanted to give a shout out for that. And let's see. So I've had 2 surgeries basically this winter. And so going through therapy for that. So my husband had hip replacement surgery today. So he's at home resting. And thankfully, the way the agenda worked out tonight, it's not long. So I can get back home. But he's doing good. Surgery went well. And so he's resting. And so it's just a winter full of surgeries and rehab. So that's all I have.
Thank you, ma'am. I just want to take an opportunity and extend my condolences to the family of Lebanon Mayor Don Fox. Was announced that he had passed away, and he'd spent quite a bit of time in Lebanon in public service. And when I first run for city commission, Mayor Fox took time to sit down with me, give me some advice, and he was always there to offer his advice over the years. And just really got to say, I appreciate him he didn't have to do that. And just a young guy at the time running for office, and nobody gave me a chance, but he was one of them that took time out of his schedule to sit down with me, and I'll always be grateful for his advice and his experience. So with that, I just want to offer my condolences and prayers to the family. And with that, we'll recognize our city manager for his comments.
Thank you, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. Thanks, everybody, for coming out tonight. For those watching at home, I'll echo the sentiments of the entire commission tonight, and also in regards to Mayor Don Fox and the work he did in Lebanon. There's a lot of accomplishments, and spoke to his family last week, and they send their regards and appreciation to the city of Mount Juliet for stepping up and putting a post out on the city's behalf in his honor. I think the city was actually one of the first to do that. So speaks class to Mount Juliet, which doesn't surprise me a bit. I'm just going to stick to my normal statement. Thanks for everything everybody does to make Mount Juliet so great. We got several new businesses that opened on the north end of town. I think a lot of folks that are here tonight are from the north end of Mount Juliet, getting new businesses all across Mount Juliet. The one thing we have, if anybody ever says, I want to dispel a rumor, is that there's all these vacant spaces. You know, they build these new facilities, these new retail centers, and they say there's vacant space. If you're out there and you're a builder, we actually need new retail space. We have more businesses that want to come to Mount Juliet than we have space right now. Joanne's Fabrics. My mom was a seamstress. My mom's gone, bless her heart, and I miss her. But Joanne's Fabrics will be closing, but we're already working on another tenant to replace it. I think that you hate to lose a tenant, but you're always happy to get the new one. But Chipotle opened on Sebde. I think Andy's Frozen Custard pulled their building permit today to build their building down beside Paper Mill. And what was the other one, Jennifer, I'm leaving out? Salvo's Pizza. If you hadn't been there and you like pizza, man, they say that place is a place to try. So you had to give it a shot. And you'll have to definitely participate more in the BPAC, because of all these eateries places, you're going to have to find more reasons to figure out a way to lose some pounds. I walk by all these places when I'm walking, and I'm like, man, I can see now why people like eating so much, because the smell alone will draw you in. But just want to encourage everybody, especially for the mom and pop businesses, please, please, please patronize our business. You see the fine officers and our public works that were out working last week. Those tools and equipment, it doesn't get bought without people patronizing our businesses. That's how it's teachers and things of that nature. That's where your money goes. It doesn't necessarily go to City Hall. It goes to those services. And we have what I feel like are the best services in the state, and trying to increase those services every day. So please, please, please shop local. And Mayor, that concludes my report.
Thank you, sir. That will go into our consent agenda, which is 9A, an ordinance to amend the fiscal year 2024-2025 budget ordinance 2024-25 to accept a grant from Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation for the purchase of an R1 series rescue boat and transport trailer for the City of Mount Juliet Fire Department. Motion and second. All in favor of the consent, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? The consent agenda carries. City Manager.
Mayor, on behalf of our elected body in our city, we'd like to thank Firehouse Subs. They've been involved in the city ever since they came here. A lot of people don't realize this, but most times those restaurants are owned by local franchisees, just local folks just like yourself. And that's a huge grant for our city. That life-saving boat and trailer. We have a boat now, but this will be much better than what we have. And having two, especially in swift water issues or drownings or missing persons, somebody falls off a boat. So I want to give a shout out to Firehouse Subs. This is one of many grants we've got over the years, and tell them how much we appreciate them. So please patronize Firehouse Subs.
Yeah, and that you made a good point there. A lot of times we see things about shop local, and people say, well, that's a big chain, but you made a very good point. A lot of these chain restaurants are owned by locals right here in the community. And when you support these restaurants like Firehouse Subs, you're supporting people right here in our community. The next item is 9B, an ordinance to reconsider the certificate of occupancy concessions for ordinance 2020-11, which established the zone and PUD overlay for the district being located at 108 Stony Creek Road. A motion? And we have a second. So the item is on the agenda. This is the one pulled from consent, yes. I'd ask our attorney to, well, explain, or do you want to comment on this one or the next? I'm getting ahead because I'm just going to make a motion. If you don't have a comment on that, I'm going to make a motion that we defer this to March 24th. We have a second. Any discussion on the advisement of deferral? All in favor of deferring until March 24th, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed? This item is deferred for 1 month. The next item is 10A, an ordinance to amend the land use plan for the property known as Silver Springs Phase 813, located at 9621 Lebanon Road, map 54, parcel 45, from low-density residential to medium-density residential. Have a motion and a second. I'm going to ask our city attorney if you would just take a moment and explain what's going on here with why we're doing a reconsideration on something that has previously passed.
Of course. So after the second reading on this matter, it was discovered that an unfortunate mistake occurred with a procedural, although important, part of the process. So at the inception of this project, a public notice was posted and sent out as is required. However, after deferrals and various delays, the public notice for just the land use piece was not updated to reflect the new Board of Commissioners meeting date. In order to cure a public notice, the items must be reconsidered. And that's because any vote that occurred is essentially null and void. So that is why it is before the BOC again tonight at first reading. It is simply to correct a procedural issue.
All right. Thank you, ma'am. Any other questions or comments? All right. All in favor of 10A, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? 10A carries on first reading. The next item is 11A, a resolution approving agreement between the City of Mount Juliet, Tennessee and R.J. Corman Railroad Company, Nashville and Eastern Railroad Line for the Clemens Road improvements, and authorize the mayor to sign the agreement. Motion? Second. The item's on the floor. Any questions or comments? City manager.
Mayor, is this Mount Juliet Road improvements for the tracks?
This is
Okay, I'm sorry. It's a different one.
Clemens Road. I couldn't get it out.
Yeah, okay, different crossing.
Yes, we just did that to keep us on our toes.
Yeah. I'll go to the next one.
Any questions or comments on Clemens Road Railroad Crossing? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? 11A carries. And the much anticipated 11B, a resolution authorizing the city manager to include the fiscal year 2026 budget, the cost of repairs to the railroad crossing at North Mount Juliet Road. Have a motion and a second. Mr. City Manager.
Yes, I just want to give the elected body and Matt a shout out. The tracks aren't owned by the city. They're owned by National Eastern Railroad, leased to R.J. Corman. And of course, the road is TDOT. So I've spoken with each of you, and I just want to give y'all a shout out, to be honest with you, and lift you up, and Matt as well. The only way we can make them better is if we take on this task ourselves. And I commend you for doing that, especially for our citizens and those that visit our city and patronize our local businesses. So thank you very much for considering this. I think the citizens will greatly appreciate it.
Commissioner Mullally.
Do we have a cost?
We do. I think Matt may have got. Yeah. So 200K would be the maximum, but we think it'll hopefully come in far less than that. The original one I think was 140,000 maybe. Of course, that was July of last year, so it may have went up a little bit since then. So we thought if we just did a max of 200, it'd cover everything we need. We'll have to do traffic. The biggest downside is we'll have to shut the road down for 3 days, but we have a route, I guess you said, a detour route that we can go through industrial. But it's the only way we can fix it and fix it right. And the reason is it's failing down below the tracks. It's basically like slurry down there. So no matter what you build them on, it just keeps sinking and sinking. And, with 30 some odd thousand cars a day traveling Mount Juliet Road both directions, that's a lot of traffic. So I just want to give y'all a shout out. I think it's well deserved for the things the city takes on, including Central Pike Interchange, where you step up and see the need is. Sometimes you got to go beyond to make things happen, and I'm very thankful for that.
All right. Any other questions or comments? All in favor of 11B, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? 11B carries. 11C, a resolution declaring the City of Mount Juliet Police Department abandoned property sale proceeds to be distributed as allowed by law. A motion and a second. Any questions or comments? All in favor of 11C, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Next item is item number 12, which is adjournment. Without objection, hearing no objections, we're adjourned.